Let's talk about Ben Carson, the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development and willing resident of the sunken place. The man has had quite a journey, from growing up as a poor child in Detroit to becoming a world-renowned brain surgeon. You know, he went from being a presidential candidate to the breakout star of the movie Zootopia. Fun fact, they actually had to speed him up to play the sloth. But since our sleepy friend was put in charge of America's housing and urban development, he's kind of dropped off the radar. That is until this week, when he struggled to answer a very simple question.
Ben Carson has been accused of being not qualified to lead the Department of Housing and Urban Development. He didn't help his cause. He confused a real estate term with a cookie.
I'd also like you to get back to me, if you don't mind, to explain the disparity in REO rates. Do you know what an REO is?
An Oreo?
No, not an Oreo. An REO. REO.
Real estate?
What's the O stand for?
E organization?
Owned. Real estate owned. That's what happens when a property goes to foreclosure. We call it an REO.
Okay, that was bad. It was bad. It really was bad. And you know what? I think it doesn't help that Ben Carson speaks the way that he does, you know? Because he always sounds like someone shot him with a tranquilizer dart and he's about to pass out. You know what I mean? Like, that's him. Like, he's just, like, sitting there the whole time and he's just like, and he's like, can't believe you shot me with a tranquilizer dart in my neck area. Like, goddamn, why isn't this working? Why isn't he going down? You cannot tranquilize that which is already tranquil. So, now, here's the thing. On its own, this would have just been a slip-up he doesn't know an abbreviation. But this REO moment just added to the perception that Carson doesn't know how to do his job. Since he was appointed, there's been an increase in families living in squalor in subsidized housing, right? Over 1,000 HUD properties have failing grades, and he's delayed an anti-segregation initiative. Like, he's so bad for housing, even tornadoes are like, yo, dude, pace yourself. What's wrong with you? So this week's slip-up didn't help, which is why Ben Carson went on Fox News to do some damage control.
I would like to remind our viewers who may not know that Ben Carson was, before he went into politics, one of, if not the best, brain surgeon in the world. And they were talking down to him. Ben Carson himself is with us now. Would you respond to all of this, please, sir?
Yes, it was, first of all, it was 3.5 hours of testimony.
Oh, man. Come on, Dr. Carson. Like Vonnie's introducing him like, how dare they talk down to the most brilliant mind the world has ever seen. Secretary Carson, show them what a genius you are. And he's like, But I will give Carson credit. He showed us this at the debates, and he showed it again yesterday. He might not have known what REOs were at the hearing on Tuesday, but by Wednesday, this guy was a certified REologist.
Of course, I'm very familiar with foreclosed properties and with REOs, have read extensively about them. And the REO portfolio, just over the last 10 years, has dramatically decreased by tenfold. Yeah. You know, 65,000 down to 6,500.
Someone's been brushing up. Yeah. One day he didn't know it, the next day he knows everything. I bet after that hearing, Carson was up all night with these books like Rocky, just singing by himself, like da da da, da da da, they're gonna know me, da da da. So, now Ben Carson is back on everyone's radar, but he's not back in a good way. The question is, could this lead to him getting fired? Well, for more on this, we turn to someone who has been fired many times. Dulcé Sloan, everyone!
I want to say I've never been fired. I left Value City before they knew I was gone.
Oh, well, Dulcé, I'm not attacking you personally. I'm just saying you know what it's like out there in the real world. Like, what do you think will happen to Ben Carson?
Oh, yeah. He about to get fired. Yeah.
It looks like that because he doesn't know what he's doing.
Nah, because he doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. It doesn't matter if you can do your job. It matters if you look like you can do your job. You know how many jobs I've kept because I was bad at them? Most of them. But I knew how to fake it. Like when I was a lifeguard, anytime somebody started drowning, I just blew my whistle. I mean, they still drowned, but it sounded like I saved them. And you can use this technique in your office. If someone asks you for a report that you didn't do, you just say, oh yeah, Karen's doing that. Every office has a Karen. And if your boss finds out you're lying, you just say, you perceptive as hell. That's why you the boss.
Okay, I don't know how effective any of this advice would be.
Thank you.
No, I don't.
Thank you.
I don't even know if that would help Carson because he's in trouble here. There seems to be bipartisan agreement that he is bad at his job. Like, if he's incompetent, shouldn't he just be fired?
If he's incompetent, then he fits in perfectly. How does that make him any different than the other cabinet members? I mean, Betsy DeVos is in charge of education, and her only qualification is a PhD in dumb blank stares.
Okay, yeah, but... All right, I get that, but let's focus on Carson. Like, when you looked at Ben Carson's HUD agenda, for instance, like the stats that I asked you to compile, what did you see?
Oh, you know, Trevor, I was going to look at the numbers, but Karen said she wanted to do it.
Karen, we don't have a Karen.
See?
Oh, shit, you lying to me.
And see, that's why you're the boss. You're perceptive as hell.
I am perceptive. I am perceptive. Give it up for Dulcé Sloan, everybody.